Welcome to this explainer. Okay, let's just jump right in. You know that feeling when you check your bank account and think, wait, where did it all go? Or maybe you found yourself staring at a random Amazon package on your porch, trying to remember why on earth you bought a vegetable spiralizer at 2 in the morning. Well, you are definitely not alone, and you're in exactly the right place. Today, we're diving deep into the psychology behind poor choices when it comes to our money. But don't worry, we aren't just going to admire the problem. We're going to map out a totally tangible, everyday path to financial independence. Trust me, by the end of this, you're going to look at your spending habits in a completely different way.
Listen to this. Your dopamine system was built for a world without credit cards. That one single sentence basically unlocks the entire mystery of our modern financial anxiety. If you're feeling frustrated by your finances, you really have to understand this massive biological mismatch first. You're out there navigating this incredibly complex, hyper-commercialized world, but you're doing it using a brain that was literally designed for ancient survival. It's a completely unfair fight. But once we can see the battlefield clearly, that's when we can actually start to win. Section 1. The dopamine mismatch. So, to get to the root of the problem, we need to look at how our biological wiring is actively working against our bank accounts. We hear about dopamine all the time, right? People call it the feel-good chemical, but actually, scratch that, is really more of a go-and-get-it chemical. It's a biological mechanism that is hardwired to drive immediate reward-seeking behavior, just for basic survival. This system was absolutely perfect for our hunter-gatherer ancestors. Back then, if you stumbled across a bush full of sweet berries, your brain gave you this massive dopamine hit to motivate you to eat all of them right away because you had no idea when your next meal was coming. Brilliant for surviving in the wild. But that exact same chemical push, it's a massive liability for personal finance. Your brain is still screaming, consume this right now, but instead of life-saving berries, it's a new pair of shoes you definitely do not need. To put that into perspective, for roughly 200,000 years, our ancestors lived in an environment of absolute scarcity. Fast forward to just 70 years ago, literally a blink of an eye in evolutionary terms, and the very first credit card hits the scene. And today, we've got frictionless, one-click buying. You can literally buy a flat-screen TV from your phone while you're waiting in line for a latte. Our financial tools evolved from scarcity to instant gratification in a matter of decades. But our brains, they are completely stuck in the hunter-gatherer era. Section 2. The psychology of poor choices. All right, let's really dig into the psychology behind poor choices here, because this is where it gets wild. On one side, you have your ancient survival instincts, seeking immediate calories, hoarding resources, just trying to survive the winter. On the other side, you have meticulously engineered modern consumerism. We're talking unlimited credit, next-day delivery, and nonstop instant gratification. And marketers? Oh, they understand this psychology perfectly. They use artificial scarcity, you know the tricks, only 2 items left in stock, or sale ends in 1 hour, to deliberately trigger your ancient survival panic. When that primal urge meets modern consumerism, you honestly don't stand a chance because they are actively hijacking your natural instincts. Think about the last time you impulse shopped. You were traveling through this exact 4-phase loop. First, there's the urge. Maybe you see an ad or you're just stressed out and looking for comfort. Second, the dopamine spike. Your brain anticipates that sweet reward and just floods you with that go-and-get-it chemical. Third, the frictionless purchase. You double tap your screen or swipe a piece of plastic. Notice how there is absolutely zero physical pain of parting with cash. And finally, phase 4, the financial hangover. The dopamine fades, the item shows up at your door, and you're left with a lighter bank account and this heavy, heavy sense of regret. Every single time you make an impulse buy, you are traveling through this exact psychological loop.
I really want you to take this next point to heart. It is not a moral failing. It is a biological hijacking. We have got to remove the shame and stigma around your debt, like right now. If you've struggled with your spending, it doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean you lack character. It just means you are a human being whose biology is functioning exactly as it was designed to, just in the completely wrong environment. Forgiving yourself for past financial mistakes is absolutely crucial. It is the mandatory first step to actually changing your future. Which naturally leads us to the million-dollar question. How do we actually outsmart our own biology? Well, since we can't physically rewire the ancient structure of our brains, at least not anytime soon, we have to figure out how to strategically rewrite our daily habits. We essentially have to outmaneuver ourselves. Section 3. Strategies for financial independence. So, trying to just be good with your money, that relies entirely on willpower. You're trying to hold back while keeping your credit card info saved on your phone and casually browsing shopping apps when you're stressed. Spoiler alert, it never works. Willpower is a finite resource that drains throughout the day. The real fix here is all about environmental design. Instead of relying on willpower, you need to change your environment to introduce friction back into the buying process. You have to make it annoying to spend money. By deleting your saved cards, you literally force yourself to get off the couch, go find your wallet, and type in those numbers one by one. And honestly, that tiny bit of friction is very often enough to break the dopamine spell. Now, one of the absolute most effective strategies to outsmart your biology is the 24-hour rule. It is remarkably simple. Whenever you want to make a non-essential purchase, you force yourself to wait a full 24 hours before you actually complete the checkout. You can put the item in your cart, sure, but you cannot hit buy until tomorrow. Why does this work so well? Because it gives that impulsive dopamine spike enough time to completely dissipate. By the next day, your logical brain has finally come back online, and I guarantee you, 9 times out of 10, you realize you don't even want the thing anyway. Section 4, your rewiring checklist. Okay, let's synthesize all of this into 4 concrete, actionable steps you can take today. Step 1, delete your saved credit cards from your phone and browser settings. Go do it right now. Add that friction back. Step 2, commit to the 24-hour waiting rule for literally anything that isn't a strict necessity. Step 3, identify your specific emotional spending triggers. Do you find yourself shopping when you're bored, stressed, sad? Recognize the emotion so you don't automatically try to cure it with a purchase. And step 4, automate your savings and investments. Move your money out of your checking account before your dopamine system even realizes it's there. You can treat this checklist as your secret weapon to combat modern consumerism. You're actively putting roadblocks right between your ancient brain and your hard-earned cash. So let's do a quick recap of our key takeaways from today. First, acknowledge the dopamine mismatch. You have to understand the game you're actually playing. Second, forgive your past financial mistakes. Let go of that shame so you can actually move forward. Third, change your digital environment. Stop relying on willpower and start relying on friction. And finally, prioritize long-term wealth over short-term pleasure. If you internalize these concepts, you really can stop falling victim to the impulse cycle and start building true, lasting financial independence. At the end of the day, the modern world is absolutely rigged against your dopamine system. Every single app, every ad, and every store is meticulously designed to separate you from your money. But now, armed with this understanding of the psychology behind your choices and the checklist we just covered, you have the power to flip the script. The choice to either remain tracked by these biological impulses or to finally break the cycle is entirely in your hands. So what's it going to be? Will you let your ancient brain dictate your future wealth? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this helps you take back control of your financial destiny.